I think India has done phenomenally well in terms of fintech growth. If you look at from 2015, 2016 onwards, we've done phenomenally well in terms of the payment space, retail payment space, the whole QR code, UPI based payments ecosystem which has developed. I think it's really put the foundational rails in place. Digital lending, at least as far as personal lending is concerned, that's taken off very well. With the eKYC, etc. I think that's we've made some giant strides. Uh, so these foundational rails really helped India to kind of put the foundational aspects in providing financial access to people, getting access to the financial ecosystem. So I think we've done phenomenally well for the first 10 years of the fintech growth. I think the next wave would be taking beyond financial access, getting beyond the payments, getting beyond just the lending, kind of becoming building these ecosystems which are driven by the data collected from all these payment rails, lending rails, and how do we bring it together? How do we provide financial access to the right people at the right point of time with the right amount for them to kind of leapfrog with their journey? Or the other aspect would be, how can we build this larger ecosystems? I think what we are doing today is we are moving in the direction of creating apps and super apps. It's very app product driven. I think we have to make finance invisible so that it becomes part of every part of someone's journey. I think that's where the next level of growth is going to come from. If you look at the fintech consumption, it's very strong consumption in the cities across the board. I'm talking beyond payments and just digital lending. But if I can get a farmer that agri loan driven by fintech, if I can get the rural youth access to all the fintech, all the financial services available. See, fintech has to move to where the ecosystems and the customers are. And I think banks have that penetration. Our fintechs today continue to be very urban focused. A lot of the apps essentially are built for the urban youth. I think as long as the fintechs can help and collaborate with the banks, drive that penetration to provide financial services to Bharat, I think that's where the next level of growth is going to come from. And there's a lot happening with the banks, new products. Like if I talk about products like Scapia, uh, Jupiter, Paydo, they're all on banks. They're sitting on banks as a service, right? So the banks are providing their platforms as a service. I think building on top of the platforms and taking it into the tier 2, tier 3 cities, targeting the youth, I think targeting Bharat, I think that's where the growth is going to come from. Well, India can become the epicenter of growth. India wants to see itself as a leader of the global south, and it's just not by political or from foreign policy perspective. It can also take a lot of the innovation which is happening here, low cost innovation which is happening here. Uh, for example, we at GT, we are building fintech strategies for countries in Southeast Asia which are not very fintech forward. I think the learning that we have in terms of scaling, in terms of building low cost solutions, in terms of how data can be used, we have a great data aggregator framework, how data can be used. These aspects kind of, and how can we build large ecosystems, bringing all of this together, coupled with some of the experiments which have been very successful elsewhere. I think that's what we can drive, that we can essentially taking our fintech, our innovations abroad. Uh, Singapore is already playing that role to a great extent in the region. I think we have to just take our innovations here and make it a powerhouse and take it abroad. Uh, I think we have the huge advantage of having solutions which are tested at a large scale. It just has to be taken international. And I think with NPCI International, etc., UPI has gone international, but it's our other fintech innovations which need to go international as well. Oh, we're doing a lot. GT focuses on contributing to the vibrant Bharat cause, and that's why we call ourselves as GT Bharat and not GT India. Uh, we have a team which just focuses on financial inclusion and how fintech and fintech policies can actually drive financial inclusion. So that we have a team which focuses on that. I don't think any other firm focuses categorically on usage of fintech for financial inclusion. We have a huge social sector consulting team which not only looks at the social aspect but also how financial services can actually help social sector or social upliftment. uh, I mentioned we're working with regulators in other countries, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, with the central banks in terms of how their fintech ecosystems can be developed, can be grown. We are working with the Asian Development Bank to kind of foster such kind of innovation in these countries. We are working with the World Bank, IFC, to kind of build those MSME finance toolkits for the Asia and the Pacific regions, in areas where there's a lot needed. So I think based on what we are learning in India, we're doing a lot across the world, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in Asia and the Pacific. When I say Asia and the Pacific, all the way extending up to Fiji and countries like that, in terms of how financial services can be made more accessible, how can we build the country level rails, and all based on the learning that we are getting from India.